The studio lights brighten as the audience applauds wildly for the guest of the day, Florence Pugh. The talented British actress known for her bold roles in films like Oppenheimer and Don't Worry, Darling. Whoopi Goldberg kicks off the segment with a warm welcome, saying how excited everyone is to have Florence on The View to discuss her latest projects and her unapologetic stance on body positivity and women's issues in Hollywood. Joy Behar leans forward with her signature smirk, complimenting Florence on her stunning red carpet looks and how she always owns her style, no matter what the critics say. Florence smiles graciously, thanking the hosts and sharing a bit about her recent work, mentioning how empowering it feels to play strong female characters who aren't afraid to take up space. Sunny Hostin jumps in, asking about the challenges of filming intimate scenes in an industry that's finally reckoning with consent and comfort on set. Florence nods thoughtfully, explaining that while intimacy coordinators have been a game changer for many, she's had experiences where directors pushed boundaries inappropriately in the past. The conversation flows easily at first, with Sarah Haynes praising Florence for speaking out against body shaming after she wore that famous sheer dress and faced backlash online. Joy Behar chuckles and adds that in her day, women were expected to starve themselves for roles, but now younger actresses like Florence are pushing back, which is refreshing. Florence agrees, saying she's tired of the double standards where men can age and gain weight without comment, but women are scrutinized endlessly. The audience cheers in support, and Alyssa Farah Griffin asks Florence about her views on feminism in modern cinema. Florence passionately responds that true feminism means celebrating all body types and not letting male gazes dictate worth. Joy interjects playfully at first, saying she's all for it, but wonders if some choices, like revealing outfits, invite unnecessary attention in a still sexist world. Florence tilts her head, sensing the shift, and politely counters that women should wear what makes them feel powerful without apology. The tone remains light, but tension simmers as Joy presses on, questioning if flaunting sexuality on screen sometimes undermines the serious messages in films. Florence defends her choices firmly, emphasizing personal agency. As the discussion deepens, Joy Behar steers the topic toward Hollywood's hypocrisy, pointing out how actresses promote empowerment but often conform to beauty ideals for roles. Florence listens intently, then responds that she's actively fought against that, recalling times when she refused to lose weight for parts, because it wasn't authentic to the character or herself. Whoopi tries to mediate, praising both perspectives, but Joy doubles down, arguing from her decades in comedy and television that sometimes provocation leads to objectification rather than liberation. Florence's eyes narrow slightly as she explains that she's been called brave for simply existing in her natural body, which highlights how broken the system is. The audience murmurs in agreement, but Joy retorts that older generations like hers paved the way by being outspoken, without needing viral moments for validation. Florence fires back respectfully yet firmly, saying that every generation builds on the last, and dismissing younger women's efforts diminishes the progress being made. Sunny Hostin nods along with Florence, mentioning how inspiring it is to see stars refuse to bow to pressure. Joy, feeling challenged, brings up specific examples from Florence's career, like the sheer gown controversy, suggesting it was more about shock value than true confidence. Florence takes a deep breath and counters that the backlash came from people uncomfortable with a woman owning her body unapologetically, not from her intent. The hosts exchange glances as the energy in the room shifts, with Sarah Haynes attempting to light-tenderly change the subject to Florence's cooking videos, which always lighten the mood online. But Joy isn't done, expressing that, in her experience on The View, they've discussed how media amplifies division among women. Florence interjects passionately, arguing that pitting generations against each other is exactly what the patriarchy wants, and she's here to unite, not divide. Applause erupts from parts of the audience, while others sit in stunned silence at the escalating exchange. Whoopi laughs nervously, trying to keep things on track by asking about Florence's upcoming projects. But the spark has been lit. The tension peaks as Joy Behar leans in closer, her voice rising slightly as she questions whether celebrities like Florence truly understand the everyday struggles of average women when they have teams styling them for events. Florence remains composed but direct, replying that privilege doesn't invalidate her experiences with sexism or body shaming, and she's used her platform to amplify voices that aren't heard. Joy pushes further, saying that sometimes these bold statements come across as performative in an echo chamber of Hollywood elites. The audience gasps softly, and Florence's cheeks flush as she responds that dismissing her advocacy as performative erases the real harassment she's faced online and in the industry. Sunny Hostin jumps in to support Florence, noting how brave it is to call out directors publicly for inappropriate behavior during intimate scenes. Joy waves her hand dismissively, claiming that in the old days, actresses just dealt with it without making a fuss, and it built character. Florence shakes her head vehemently, stating that no one should have to deal with harassment, and normalizing it is why change has been so slow. The other hosts try to intercede, with Alyssa pointing out the value in both viewpoints, but the back and forth between Joy and Florence intensifies. Florence accuses Joy of victim blaming subtly, while Joy insists she's just being realistic about how the business works. Whoopi bangs the table lightly for order, reminding everyone this is The View, where hot topics are meant to spark debate, but the personal edge is undeniable. Florence passionately defends the need for boundaries and respect on set, sharing a brief anecdote about a director who made uncomfortable demands without regard for her comfort. Joy counters that comedy and entertainment have always pushed envelopes, and sensitivity can stifle creativity. The audience is split, with some cheering Florence's empowerment message and others appreciating Joy's no-nonsense style. Midway through the segment, the argument reaches a boiling point when Joy Behar suggests that younger actresses like Florence benefit from the trails blazed by women like her, without acknowledging the gritted, fucking less forgiving times. Florence leans forward, her voice steady but charged, explaining that she deeply respects pioneers, but refuses to accept that progress means enduring abuse silently. She points out how Joy's generation fought for rights, and now hers is fighting for bodily autonomy and mental health in the spotlight. Joy interrupts, saying that constant outrage culture makes it hard to have honest conversations without someone feeling attacked. Florence replies sharply that honest conversation shouldn't involve questioning a woman's right to feel safe or confident in her skin. The studio falls quieter as Sarah Haynes tries to pivot to a lighter question about Florence's favorite recipes. But neither participant backs down easily. Whoopi moderates expertly, giving both space to speak. But the chemistry crackles with disagreement. Florence emphasizes that she's not attacking anyone personally, but standing up for principles that affect countless women. Joy, with her trademark wit, quips that at her age, she's seen fads come and go, implying some modern feminism might be trendy. Florence doesn't laugh, instead reiterating that body positivity isn't a fad. It's a necessity in a world that profits from women's insecurities. Applause swells again, louder this time for Florence, prompting Joy to defend her long career advocating for women's issues on national television. The exchange highlights generational gaps in approaching feminism, with Florence advocating for radical self-acceptance and Joy for pragmatic resilience. Sunny and Alyssa chime in with balanced takes, but the focus remains on the two strong personalities' clashing viewpoints. As the debate wins toward resolution, Florence Pugh expresses frustration that conversations like this often devolve into misunderstandings rather than alliances among women. Joy Behar admits that she admires Florence's fire and talent, even if they disagree on tactics, saying it's what makes the view thrilling. Florence softens slightly, thanking Joy for her candor and acknowledging the importance of tough talks. Whoopi wraps the hot topic gracefully, noting how passionate discourse is the heart of the show. The audience erupts in enthusiastic applause, buzzing from the unexpected intensity. Florence shares a final thought on unity, urging everyone to support each other instead of tearing down. Joy nods in agreement, adding her own quip about agreeing to disagree like adults. The hosts move to commercial, but the moment lingers as cameras catch Florence and Joy exchanging a respectful glance. Back from break, lighter topics resume with Florence discussing her love for acting and family. But the earlier clash has already gone viral in viewers' minds. Whoopi jokes about keeping the peace, while Sarah compliments both for handling it with grace. Florence laughs genuinely now, saying debates like that are healthy and necessary. Joy echoes that sentiment, praising Florence as a force in Hollywood. The segment ends on a high note with hugs and photos, but the explosive exchange becomes the headline, sparking online discussions about feminism across generations. In the aftermath of the taping, clips of the head-to-head spread rapidly across social media, with fans praising Florence for holding her ground and others defending Joy's blunt style as classic view energy. Florence later posts a thoughtful reflection online about appreciating diverse opinions, while standing firm on core values. Joy, in true form, addresses it briefly on the next episode, saying spirited debates are what keep daytime TV alive. The moment cements Florence's reputation as unflinching and Joy's as unfiltered, drawing record views for the episode. Analysts note how it encapsulates ongoing conversations about age, experience, and activism in women's rights. Florence's poise under pressure earns her more admiration, while Joy reminds everyone of her trailblazing role. Ultimately, the clash highlights progress and remaining work in empowering women fully, without judgment or hierarchy. The View thrives on such raw authenticity, turning a potential conflict into a memorable television milestone that encourages viewers to reflect on their own biases and alliances.